anybody been to Florence in Italy? No, okay. Art. So art is the third study area at Istituto Marangoni. What did I say it's important before? Location. For art students, the courses are all in Florence. Why do we do that? Florence is a small Rome, very small town, Florence. You can probably walk from one edge to the other one in less than 2 hours. That's a small city. Florence was at the center of the Renaissance period, about 5-6 centuries ago, and you really breathe art and fashion. So the Istituto Marangoni Florence, we focus on 2 study areas, art and fashion. Marangoni is not a fine art academy. What we focus here is a little bit more the, let's say, business side of art. Because again, art is an industry. Sometimes you think, I'm going to become an artist, I don't make money. That's not true. Art, like fashion, like design, like engineering, these are all industries. You study, you work, you get a career. That's exactly the same. You see a little bit aggressive Marangoni style, right? Here we focus, let's say, on 2 sub-areas. Multimedia art that explores different ways, both digital and traditional, to talk about artistic, I would say, content, while art curating and management is, again, the behind the scenes. How do you create a gallery? How do you curate an exhibition? What are you going to say? Does anybody go here to exhibitions, galleries? Yes? Some, okay. And it's a business. There's really, people really think behind. It's not just putting beautiful things together. Of course, beautiful things together are important, but the point is, how do you do it? How do you talk about it? Which artists do you work with? What's the message? Which location? Why are we here today? In Italia, of course, Marangoni, big Italian. But the point is, there's really a lot of things going behind putting together artistic content. Last study area I want to talk about is the beauty area. We call it fragrances and cosmetics. What do I mean? This seems a little bit strange at first, but think about this a second. Prada, Ferragamo, Dior, Dolce & Gabbana. These companies make more money with the beauty division rather than clothes and accessories. If you think of Prada, you're not thinking about fragrance, right? You're thinking probably about what? Black suits, cool skirts, aggressive shoes. If you think about Dior, what do you think? A lot of things. But actually, luxury brands, they tend to actually be more successful with their beauty lines. About 4 years ago, one of the owners of Marangoni is L'Oreal. Do you know L'Oreal? Okay, we work together. They've been coming to us and they've been telling us, hey, we cannot find enough young graduates that understand fashion, luxury, business, and beauty. Because it's not simple. Think about Prada again. The way they create a fragrance and they market a fragrance is different compared to maybe how to market a bag. It's completely different. Maybe the target audience. Different the digital media channels. So we've been opening these courses because companies, as I will show you here, so these are our partners in the fragrance industry, Dolce & Gabbana, Dior, Chanel, L'Oreal, so on and so forth. These companies cannot find enough young people like you that can work. Because again, it's a combination of business and beauty, which is not the same as fashion. Because selling a fragrance compared to selling trousers, very different. But the companies, they do the same. So the beauty courses in Marangoni, these are business courses. So now, if you want to be in a lab for 10 years to create fragrances, you need to study chemistry. Chemical engineering, that's a different thing. But for example, if you want to understand, okay, Prada customer, which type of fragrance will he or she like and why? This doesn't come from the engineers. This comes from business people who understand business and beauty. Very different. Of course, here you're going to learn a little bit about the raw materials. There are going to be classes, olfactory classes. I've done this together also with L'Oreal. It was very interesting. But I'm not going to become an engineer. But you need to understand a little bit the raw materials and to understand basically the psychology behind. Okay? And this is very important. So again, it's a business course where you get a glimpse of chemistry and engineering, but even the packaging. Why Prada is using that specific color for the fragrance? Why is Dior launching a campaign on YouTube to talk about the new cosmetic? This seems simple, but then if you start thinking about this, it's actually super complicated. I always tell students, remember, I told to students from Mongolia, to China, to Australia, to Indonesia, the beauty industry tends to be one of the best industry where to be, which is still connected to fashion and luxury, because luxury brands have a beauty division. If you're a little bit older, maybe like me, so maybe you already have a BA, you have work experience, I go back 1 second to AI without making it too boring. AI is not coming to replace everything, but it's definitely coming to displace a lot of things, which means changing things that are happening. This is World Economic Forum report, so like junior guys, but they're saying that basically in the next 5 years there is going to be about 100 million jobs that will be displaced. Displaced means moved around. Okay. So Marangoni, because we want to keep teaching people, let's say that you studied before. Now you're working, but when you studied, you never learned anything about AI. What basically we're doing now is we launch new courses for professionals. So for example, let's say you already have a brand or you work for a company, fashion design, but you don't know anything about AI. Yeah, sure. You use Gemini or ChatGPT, to research what to do, where to go, and that's not really using AI in a professional way. So we have these courses that are, again, maybe must be 30 years old or less. 80% they happen online, and 20%, so 1 or 2 weeks actually, will have to go to Milan, to London, or Florence. So you have a job, you already have a BA or a master's, and now you need to upskill. You know the meaning of upskilling? Yes? Okay. Skills that I learned 5-10 years ago, right now might be either obsolete or not that important. No matter you or me, we need to keep learning a little bit because things are changing very fast. I'll tell you slightly about all the courses. So we have the complete range from short courses to masters. Short courses are for, let's say, junior. Let's say you're in high school or just finishing. You like London, but you're also interested in Paris. You like fashion design, but now that I told you about communication and image, you're attracted to it. How to choose? Well, of course, you can talk to me, you can talk to Fly Vietnam. But my point is, if you can experience maybe Milan or London or Paris or Shanghai for 1 or 2 weeks, we have some short courses that can give you a taste about the city and about the major. Because if you start a BA in fashion design, 6 months later you're like, actually I like fashion business, you lost 1 year of your life. This is very important because it's a different major. Fashion is an industry. So you start the wrong major. I see often students that start fashion design, they hate it. 3-4 months later, you lost 1 year. It's not just the money, Marangoni is expensive, sure. But 1 year of your life is even more expensive. You cannot take that back. Foundation, maybe you have to do it depending which high school you come from, or you don't know maybe which major. You can do a foundation in fashion or a foundation in design. You learn about everything, and then you can choose what to do later. Bachelor, of course, you know what it is, and a master's too. I want to mention a little bit the 1 year or intensive course. I see this scenario often in Asia. Let's say that you loved fashion design or product design, but your father didn't allow you to study fashion design. You went to study business, or you went to study architecture, or you went to study law. This happens very often. Now, actually you want to move to fashion design, but you're 22, you have a BA from law. You don't want to do another BA because it's another 3 years of your life. At the same time, you cannot do a master's because you don't have the experience. So what do? Intensive courses are 1 year courses. It's a BA condensed in 1 year. And it's especially for those that have a BA or experience from a non-relevant background. And again, but you're mature enough that you can actually do an intensive BA, but not in 3 years, in 1 year. If that makes sense. We have masters and we even have an MBA in London. I don't go through all the requirements, but at Marangoni, the most important thing, if you're applying to a creative course, fashion design, product design, interior design, portfolio. You don't have, let's say, an amazing score from high school or an amazing score from university. For us, portfolio is actually the most important thing because we want to understand your creativity, your will. Personal statement, remember, AI is important, but don't write personal statements with AI because we find out in 1.5 seconds. You're going to a creative school. Be unconventional. Program leader likes to read a story. Something happened when you were 6 years old. Tell us. Your grandma comes from fashion. Your favorite brand is Prada because of ABC. Tell us. We are a fashion, art, and design school. Be a little bit particular. Be a little bit special. Don't be boring and corporate. Personal statements or motivational letters or SOP, they're all the same. Show us who you are. That would be read by the program leader. I said before, English is the official language of Marangoni. So you go to Milan, you go to Florence, you go to Paris, English. I would say that from visa purposes, Italy is slightly easier because a lower English requirement is needed. So just to let you know that basically the IELTS or TOEFL or equivalent, you can actually go to different places around the world.